Hello, my friends. It's Jules Caldwell coming back to you again for another round of our series, She's Got Plans, real talk about women, wealth, and what matters most, our financial series. Super excited to have our guest, Matthew Henley, join us again. Hello, welcome back, Matthew.
Hey, Julie, how are you? Great to see you. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, super excited. So we survived week one and session one, where, we started with the foundation, because when you have conversations around finances and money, I think sometimes we just need to go back to the basics. And so last week we started our conversation around where do we even get started, and how to get clear on our financial picture. And if you missed that conversation, it's not too late. No worries for those of you who are joining us. You can find it on my Facebook or my LinkedIn page, and also on my YouTube channel for Country Jewel retreats and conferences. And if you registered to participate in this series, and it's not too late to do that, we will also send you an email follow-up after each session with the links to the videos. So there's all sorts of places where you can catch up. But today, Matthew and I are here talking about investing without the intimidation and how to make your money work for you without fear, confusion, or intimidation. So, Matthew, I want to be really honest. When I heard the word investing the first time, and even today still, I tense up a little bit, because I've always been somebody, if I'm real and raw, who's just trying to get ahead, to save something. And for years, the idea of investing has felt like it's belonged to other people who had money, or, a nice little pool of money saved up. And I used to think, how can I invest when I can barely save some days, especially in today's economy? But one of the things I've learned through our conversations together and our journey over the last year is that investing isn't just about having extra money. It's about learning how to grow whatever you do have, so that you have options in the future for what you want to do. And so what I would love to do is for women who are newer to this conversation, if we could start by unpacking that idea a little bit together, maybe strip away some of the jargon and the stereotypes that come with investing, take away the fear of it. What does it really mean to invest in simple terms, and how's it different from just saving money in a bank account?
Julie, I love that. And I'm so glad to see people joined us. We didn't scare everyone off last week talking about the planning, which is such an important foundation of what we're going to build off in today's conversation in the next few weeks. But, again, something we kept saying last week, when you say that you're, have some intimidation or fear of investing, you are not alone. This is very common. And I want to say, first and foremost, investing doesn't necessarily mean buying stocks on the stock market or complicated investment strategies. Savings versus investing is important to remember. Savings is simple. It's putting some money aside after your expenses, typically holding it in a savings account. Maybe you're putting money aside for a short-term purchase and earning a little bit of interest. If it's in your bank account, that interest may look like something around 0.001%, but it's there, it's in your account, and it's something you can count on. Investing, on the other hand, it's a bit different. It's taking a portion of your savings and buying an investment product with the expectation that your money will work for you, and you will earn additional money over time. The difference between savings and investing is savings is keeping your money at home, and investing is sending it off to work for the day. Both probably have a place in your financial planning and your own financial picture, but understanding exactly the difference between the two and when to save and when to invest is critical.
One of the things I loved about what you just said was your money will do the work for you. I kind of like the sound of that.
Yes, exactly. You need to. That's the key benefit of investing is putting that money to work for you and achieving results that you cannot achieve by just saving it in a bank account.
Right. So, Matthew, in light of all of that, what would be some of the risks of not investing? So how can, as women, we build confidence around this concept of investing if we felt intimidated by it? And what are some of the risks if we don't start to think about it?
Well, so great question. What are the risks of not investing? So why is investing important? Maybe I'll talk about three things that come to mind. Number one, investing helps you keep pace with inflation. A
Yeah.
dollar today will buy more than that same dollar will in the future.
Mhm.
And and since the pandemic, especially, the inflation has been higher than we have seen in the last few decades. So keeping pace with inflation is so important to personal finance. That can only be achieved through investing.
Mm.
Putting money aside in your bank account, while you feel you are doing the right thing, saving money, putting it aside, and holding it for a rainy day, you're losing value of those dollars over years as inflation continues to rise. So you have to find a way to put the money to work to beat inflation long term. Secondly, investing can mean different things. I think when people think in investing, they think of I want to buy a stock low and sell it when it's high, and always look for growth. But there's different ways to invest, and that could mean buying an investment product that generates regular recurring revenue for you. If you're looking for an income stream, that is a path you can take through investing. So why invest? Well, to create income for yourself. And thirdly, I want to talk about the snowball effect that comes from investing, and that is compounding. The process where you generate earnings from your initial investment, take those earnings, reinvest in themselves, and eventually you start earning interest on your interest. This is how long term, regardless of how small you're starting out, you will start to see that exponential growth, and that is the best known secret in the investing world is finding that compound growth over time, putting your money in an investment product, reinvesting it into itself, and watching it continue to grow.
So, what would be an example of how you would do something like that? Is owning your home considered something like that, or what would we look for as
So,
opportunities?
so I think the easiest example is if you buy a dividend paying stock on the stock market and
Okay.
automatically reinvest those dividends.
Okay.
The dividends go back and purchase more of the stock
Okay.
automatically, and
Okay.
and that it keeps accumulating. It keeps growing and growing the value that you have. So that's probably the easiest way to look at it. You are earning a dividend. Instead of taking that dividend out, you're
Mm.
automatically reinvesting it, so the growth continues to grow.
Okay. So, what I'm hearing then, your advice, based on your experiences, is where we can find the right stock to invest in, and that feels like a big thing. Like, where would we even begin to do that?
I wouldn't so I will say that compounding is a benefit of investing.
Okay.
It's not, again, not necessarily, I'm not necessarily advising everyone run out and try to find stock, but when you
Okay.
talk about the reasons to invest, compounding, eighth wonder of the world, as some say, is a major reason to do that. It's how you turn a small start into exponential growth over the long term.
Okay. So, I want to be kind of raw here and real. So, uh, some of our conversation is like way over my head because I struggle with math and numbers. I can manage my budget. I know where I'm at. But there comes this point where I kind of hear like, wah, 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 because I don't know it enough and I'm not comfortable enough. And where I want to go with this is, it wasn't until you and I sat down where I felt safe enough to have a conversation with somebody who's an expert in this area,
Mhm.
to really start to explore what's going on. And I think it's important. I want to share for the women who would be listening to this and watching that you don't have to figure it out on your own. And as a matter of fact, it's probably better, unless you happen to have been given a gift, in how to do this and the mathematical mind to think about where you should invest and what works and how it all builds together. Don't feel like you have to do it alone. Like, reach out to somebody who is an expert in this area, who can unpack it for you and help guide you through sort of those first initial steps. And if you're somebody like me, who I'm very risk averse, can help guide you through starting points for how you might want to begin to invest, so that you get a bit of a foundation. Because last week we talked about the importance, build your foundation. And in this area, this is about building a foundation of knowledge, and then comfort in taking it to the next level.
Yeah, and I think that that there are so many resources. There's so much information online. Be comfortable going through the process that we talked about last week. The form framework, understanding your current situation, understanding your budget, your expenses to build out your financial plan. I think that's all stuff that you can do at home, but don't be afraid to reach out if you when you get to the point of making investment decisions. Again, you can go this alone, and there's all sorts of great resources and platforms where you can make investment decisions on your own. But there's also always experts to lean on, and nobody expects you to know everything or quite frankly anything when it comes to this. That's completely fine. That's quite all right. Come with your questions. And general, I think any advisor is happy to have a conversation and answer some questions without any sort of commitment on your end.
Yeah. And I'm also just going to say, I think it's important to find the right fit for the person that you're working with as well, right? You want to create that relationship of trust, to feel like you can share where you're at, where you may have risk aversion, and questions about your hopes, supports where you want to go with the kind of life you want to have.
You need that trust. If you end up going down the road of working someone, you need transparency. I think a lot of people right now listening in might be afraid to answer or ask questions, afraid of what some of the answers might be, afraid to make mistakes, afraid to start the investment process and make a mistake. And that's why last week, we're going to keep hammering this home. Last week, it really is the foundation of everything we'll talk about this week and moving forward. Having that financial plan in place is critical, because it just gives you awareness of your ability to continue saving, your ability to invest, your ability to work or possibly not work or look to retirement. It's going to give you a view on all of those things and where you stand. And once you have that understanding, you can start to say, okay, I'm going to take a portion of the money I have saved aside. I'm going to invest that. I'm going to you can use your financial plan as the basis of your investment strategy. So you're not just simply trying to buy low and sell high. You're investing with a strategy. Maybe it's very low risk. The majority of your investments or portfolio. Maybe you take on some higher risk because it's for long-term savings. But start looking at your plan. Consider your own risk tolerance and when you think you may need access to capital, and the plan should tell you answer a lot of those questions for you.
How much money does one need to begin the investment journey?
That's a great question. But there's no, listen, if you want to work with an advisor, some advisors may have a minimum to open up accounts, but there are so many platforms right now. I mean, from RBC's direct investing to online platforms, you can get started with a few dollars, and if a few dollars to try it alone or try it on your own.
Yeah.
So don't think you need to have $100,000 or $50,000 or $10,000. If you want to get started, you have a little bit of money. There are platforms available that make it very easy to get in and get started.
I love that, because I think my assumption every time I hear people talk about investing is that I need hundreds of thousands of dollars in order to do that. And I just feel like that's just so far out of the realm of my reach at the moment. And so I want the women who are listening here to realize, it could be 50, it could be $100 that you start with. The
Absolutely.
point is starting and being open to the idea of it and seeing what can come from that $50 or that $100 investment that you make.
And even that, have a plan for that. $50 it's a starting point. Do you want to add to it every few weeks or every month or every few months? Do you want to just put $50 into to get comfortable investing, get comfortable with different investment products? Those are all fine options, and all of that is available.
I think one of the other things that's a mindset shift about investing and being open to investing is that it's not actually about chasing wealth. And I think that's an important piece that I want to talk about here with you right now, because it's about money, and it feels like it's about money and, hoarding money and getting access to money. But it's really not about chasing wealth. It's about creating some stability and freedom for the kind of life that we want to design. And I think, people in general struggle with that. And then, so again, coming back to that basics, what is the life that you want to live? Do you want to be going from paycheck to paycheck? Do you want to have financial freedom? Do you want to be able to give back, leave a legacy? What does that look like? Are you building a business? Do you want to put your kids through school? And so I encourage those of you who are watching this to think about, what is the vision for your life and how do you want to live that life? And then think about, so what do I need to do from an investment perspective to create the kind of life I want to live? Which is a really powerful shift from feeling like it's just about hoarding money in some ways.
Well, and I think for anyone who has saved to put a down payment on a home or buy a new vehicle or whatever you may have saved for, I think we all know how hard it is to save money on a paycheck and have it grow fast enough to go make that large purchase. It feels like you're saving for a very long time. Going back to last week, not many people know exactly how much money leaves their home every month. And when you start to look at expenses versus income coming in, it's a struggle to keep saving. So long term, to build that financial freedom or to meet some of your financial goals, saving money off your paycheck is just a hard way to achieve that. Investing doesn't necessarily mean putting significant risk on your capital either. It just because you are investing doesn't mean you have to buy risky stocks on the stock market. There are other ways to still help you achieve compounding or generating income or an inflation hedge versus savings. So there's lots to consider.
There is indeed. So in light of that, are there any tools or resources on investing that we should be aware of? Like, what would be a really simple first place for us to start if we want to, I'm going to say, dabble in it, just to get a sense of comfort and what could be involved in that experience?
Boy, great question, because there's so much available online, and you can spend a lot of time Googling different resources on investing.
Yeah.
For me, the way I learn best is experiencing it firsthand.
Okay.
RBCdirectinvesting.com has a great platform. When you go to the website, There's an option where you can create a play account with play money. I believe the account sets you up with a fake $100,000, and you can use that to go on and buy stocks, buy mutual funds, buy ETFs, learn about all of these things firsthand by playing through them. And this is a free resource that anyone can use, and it's a great tool, I think, to get people just understanding what the process of buying and selling stocks or funds or ETFs really looks like. And you can take some time. You can buy some stocks that you enjoy, companies that you know, or ideas that you may have, and see how it performs over time. So it's a great first step if you're considering trying to take on your own investing.
So I heard you correctly, right? RBCDirectInvesting.com, but it's a free tool that we could use. So like
Absolutely.
That's even better, right? We can't
That's
go wrong.
Right. That's right. Go on the website, and it's right there for you, and it's a really fun tool.
Okay, that's cool. I'm open to that challenge. I'm all about the action.
That's right.
All right. Well, so my friends, because I'm all about the action, so that's one thing I would love to encourage you to do is to go visit the website, rbcdirectinvesting.com. It's free. It's a no-brainer. You can't get it wrong. And really just start to get comfortable with the idea of investing, and I'll say playing, but making intentional decisions with a vision and an outcome in mind. But the other thing I would like you to do is I want you to think a little bit about the word investing. And so again, we often do think about stocks or mutual funds, but the truth is we actually invest in things in our life every day. And so I would like you to think about the ways you already invest in yourself. And so think about things like, what courses do you take to grow your skills? In what way are you prioritizing your health? Are you building intentional, meaningful relationships? Have you taken steps to already start paying down your debt or putting a little bit of money away already? Are you investing in participating your time in participating in this series so that you can learn a little bit more and be comfortable? And the reason I encourage that is that I think it's important to see that investing can happen in very different ways, but it's something we do. This is now just a different way to invest. And so the goal here we're looking for isn't about perfection about how to do this. We're never going to do it perfect if we've never done it before in terms of investing, as Matthew's been talking about it. But it's to recognize that you already know how to invest. And now it's just about applying that same kind of care or intention or purpose to the money that you have, or the money that you're choosing to put aside to invest. And then I want you to look at it once you've made that list. Ask yourself, if my money reflected my values, would it look the same as the list that you've just made? So for example, if you value learning, are you saving or investing in ways that support your growth down the road? So think about the things you value in life and where you're already putting your time and energy and maybe your financial resources in. And if you value freedom, are you setting anything more aside that could give you more choices down the road, or investing in ways that can give you that more freedom down the way? And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. It's just about allowing ourselves to be open and to reflect and to think upon what we want to do and how we want to live our life together. What do you think about that, Matthew?
No, I love that. I think that it's again, there's no wrong way to invest, whether it's investing in yourself or different actions. The purpose of this is to start getting people to think the way of investing and show the benefits and value of it. From my perspective, as someone who invests in the stock market every day, I think that what I would add is use the tools and resources and information available, because it's easy to become comfortable with the stock market. Yeah. I think that if you go through your process, build and lean on your financial plan, You are taking out so many of the unknowns that you're doing a great job of reducing risk already, because you are, your financial plan is going to tell you what needs to be saved for upcoming bills, and how you have to meet some of your priorities. But if there's money left over, maybe that's what you start putting towards investing.
Yes.
And maybe with that envelope of funds that's left over, you break that down into investments that I want to make over the next year, 3 years, or 10 years. Because again, if you don't need access to the capital right away, it gives you more freedom and ability to trust the stock market to do what it's going to do, which is historically grow. So if you're investing some money for 1 year and some money for 10 years, well, what you invest in is going to look very, very different. On short-term investments, you want to take all of the as much of the risk and volatility of the market out as possible. So that's where you're looking at something very simple like GICs, something like that, something that you can count on will be available for you 1 year from now. If you have 10-year money available, maybe that's where you start looking to take on a bit more risk to try and find that growth and try to find those opportunities for compounding. Again, start thinking. Every person's going to go through their own journey and have their own perspective. So start thinking, if you looked at your portfolio and noticed that the value had dropped 10 or 20 or 30% overnight, how would you feel about that? Because that's going to start to tell you about your own risk tolerance. Do you say, okay, that would be terrible, and I couldn't live with that? Well, then that tells us something. If you say, well, I know I'm not going to touch that money for a period of time, and I trust and have faith in that the stock market will do what it historically has done. Well, that gives you a bit of information on your own personal risk tolerance and what you may look for. Start thinking about if you're going to do some of this investing alone. Do you want to buy individual stocks? Do you want to what will the process look like for you to pick stocks? Or do you want to own something like a mutual fund or an ETF, which is essentially a product that holds a bunch of stocks that others have chosen for you? So even from that perspective, you don't feel you have to be an expert to get started. There are ways to get in, ways to invest without having to know everything about every company listed on the stock market.
Well, and I think what you've just summarized there, is also a really good example of why it is helpful to work with an investment advisor such as yourself, who can help take away some of the confusion or complexity of things. And by being open and transparent about, how risk averse we are or not, how much we have, the kind of life we want to live, then your advisor can work with you to really tailor a plan that works for your needs. But they're only as good as what you share with them about what you're hoping to do and where you want to go. It's not like, when you and I sat down, Matthew, it wasn't an invasive conversation where I was like, well, why do you want to know all these things? It was really a genuine conversation, an authentic conversation around what is the life. You were asking me, like, what is the life that you want to live? And how can I help you set yourself up in a way to be able to move towards, having the financial freedom to be able to live that kind of life. And it helps to have somebody who's an expert help you prioritize some of those things as well.
Yeah, and I think that when I start the process of working with a client, I mean, the goal is that we're working together for 5, 10, 20 plus years. Yeah. So it's important that there's trust in that relationship, transparency maybe on both sides, but especially from the advisor's side of things. Make sure you're comfortable with the advisor. Make sure that the investment plan and investment strategy is built on your personal financial situation, and the portfolio reflects that. And I think the earlier on you're having those good, honest conversations, the easier it is to ensure that the investment side of things is built specifically for you and helps you achieve your financial goals.
Nice. So before we wrap up, is there sort of one last piece of wisdom? What's the one thing for sure that people who are listening right now should take away around this conversation around investment?
Good. Get started. Again, just do it. If it's $50 or $20, whatever it is, get started. Go through the process, because it truly, investing is the surest path to long-term financial freedom. I'll go over it. It's going to protect you from inflation. It's going to give you options to earn new income or see growth in your investment. And it's going to give you the opportunity for compound growth. And those three things are just so critical. So get started. Those are the reasons why. And again, you can do this at home, by yourself, to work through that process if you're still reluctant to talk to someone. But I also certainly encourage you to reach out to professionals who are always happy to help.
Agreed. I think one of the words that sort of stood out for me in some of what you've shared here today, Matthew, has been the word compounding. When you said get started, whether it's $20 or $50, my instant thought, the mindset I have was, well, that's not going to get me very far. But when you added it to compounding, at the end of the day, there is this, I'm going to say magic that happens. It's not magic. There are formulas and things. But regardless of the amount, while it might seem nominal to you at one point in time, 6 months, 12 months from now, how that gets compounded and what turns around in that whatever period of time does have impact. And so I want to say to the women who are listening, don't diminish the amount. Just get started. Pick an amount, whatever that is that you're comfortable with right now, and trust the process. Trust that the compounding is going to happen in a way that is efficient and effective for what your vision is, for what you want to do. And when you get comfortable with that, take it to the next level of what you want to do, and reinvest that money into the next thing, and let more compounding happen.
That's exactly it. And I like it. We're gonna get there eventually, whether it's our retirement or choice on leaving a job or pursuing another opportunity. Knowing that that's one day coming, you're better off getting started, even in that small amount. Because if we get there and you didn't do it, even if it's a small amount now, it's better to have something. It's better to have used that time to grow as much as possible. Julie, maybe I'll just add, I think our goal today, and I think part of the purpose today, was to talk about the mindset of investing and to get comfortable investing, rather than all of the products and ways to invest. I'm happy to have that conversation offline. If you are registered or listening and want a bit more information, want to dive into investment products, reach out. Let's have a conversation, and I'll walk through all of those. But I didn't want to get too into the weeds on this webinar with that. So happy to take that offline.
Agreed. And I don't have your email here on the screen, but do reach out or comment. Happy to connect you with Matthew. And if you're registered, I've already connected you with Matthew, so you have the ability to chat with him. Really the reason Matthew's here is he just was somebody who was able to take the fear away from the conversations around money and investment and retirement. And so on that side of things, Matthew, was a great segue into our next session, because after today, we do have a break for next week. There will not be a session next Thursday. because I'm using some of the money that I've been investing to go on a trip. I'm traveling with my daughter. But we will be back in 2 weeks from now. And on Thursday, October 23rd, we're going to talk about what's enough and rethinking retirement on your terms. And so I know a number of the women who registered to participate in the event and who are following along either live or after the fact in the replays are in that place where they're starting to think about what's next in their life. So I think this will be a really powerful conversation and continues to build on what we've been talking about from week one. So join us on Thursday, October 23rd. That is the next session, our third session. What's enough? Rethinking retirement on your terms. Any last words before we wrap up, Matthew?
Thanks for having me again. Thanks for everyone who's joining in and listening. Reach out if you have any questions, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Excellent. Thank you again for joining today, Matthew. We'll see you again in 2 weeks. My friends, in living and loving the life you're meant to live, go have an amazing rest of your day. And we look forward to seeing you at the next session.